Hello, good morning. First of all, these are just some phones that I am now using, so that I can focus a bit more on what I am talking about and avoid being distracted with outside noises. Right. Today I'm going to start by analyzing a news piece that you can read, for example, in Euronews, at least here in Europe, in a lot of national channels. It's also being televised that Russia is claiming that it has recovered the Kursk region, when in fact there are still Ukrainian troops present in the territory, and they are still inflicting fire damage on the Russian forces. Now, if you don't know it, Ukraine invaded the Kursk region in Russia, and at that point it held a great deal of territory. And this was mainly done, in my opinion, not not the direct declaration of the Ukrainians. I think this was done in order to force the Russians to divert resources to other parts of the front line, and to allow Ukraine to regroup some troops and keep up the war, which is essentially what they are doing right now, because support has been bottlenecked. Okay, but let's continue on. Let's not talk about that right now. Can talk about it in another video. Now, Putin said a lot of things. He said that in a meeting with his general staff, he said, "Oh yes, we recovered them, we expelled them, and the North Korean troops participated with us, and they conquered, and they ba 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 ba," and it's the same bullshit all the time. No, it's like the Russians appeared and the Ukrainians started running away. And why am I talking about this? Because I think this is very important, since it reveals the desperate need of Putin to justify amongst their people what is happening. Because if you don't recall this, recently there was a top general in Russia, that was murdered by a car bomb. Okay, and what I'm trying to imply, because this is my opinion, remember, is that they are trying to justify before the people the things that are happening, because this is not usually televised in the West. I don't know why, and I am afraid of my own conclusions about some news outlets, because this does not happen in every news outlet. But I will tell you this: some American news outlets, and those with the outlets in Europe that are related to them or subsidiaries of them, they are not talking about this. They are not talking about what is happening in Russia, where military targets are being attacked, and it's not the Ukrainians. In some cases, it is, and it's not true. This is a war. If you don't know it, this is indeed a war going on. No, this is not a skirmish. This is a full-blown war, and it's natural for them to enter in Russia and perform acts of sabotage. It's not an attack; it's a defense system. But as I was telling, anonymous citizens in Russia and organized militias in Russia are causing deep damages to the Russians. Russians are having bombings, they are having fires purposely set on in oil refineries, in recruitment centers, bases, military bases. military vehicles, all of that. And this is not misinformation or fake news. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. It's available. It's not something that you might think as a how I wouldn't call it conspiracy theory, but I would call it misinformation. But this is not misinformation. These things are happening, and if you look close enough, you'll find them. It's not that hard. But you have some news outlets, like I said, that I don't even want to go there because that indeed would be misinformation because I would be implying something I have no proof about it, and that is not correct. And in the EU, at least, that is against the law because I am absolutely free to say, like I'm telling you now, that I have my opinion. I've seen it in in news outlets, whatever, in YouTube news outlets, okay, not YouTube private channels, whatever. But uh, what I'm trying to tell you is that, in my view, they are getting desperate because it's not a lie to say that Russia has lost about 1 million people in the war right now. It's not a lie. I don't know if it's 999,000. I don't know if it's 1 million, but they have lost those people because you cannot lose 500 men a day and not lose them. Russia is doing what she did in World War II, sending waves upon waves of soldiers. And now they even have North Koreans there. They have mercenaries from elsewhere in the world. They have some mercenaries from Central Asia. They even have mercenaries from Brazil. This one I saw and I know. So, and of course there are also mercenaries or volunteers, if you want to call them. You can also call volunteers those fighting in the Russian side. But there are volunteers in Ukraine, of course. There are volunteers from Portugal, for example. There are. But now, as I was saying, I think that it was important for me to make a video about this because I think this hints the desperation to which Russia is arriving. And I don't want to be making futurology, but this war, it either ends now, and it has nothing to do with the weak president of the United States, absolutely nothing. Either it ends now, or Putin, I call him Pukin, or Putin is going to try another desperate attack. In fact, I think that is exactly what he is doing now. Because he knows that the deployment of European troops is imminent. And if you think nuclear deterrent will stop this, you are sadly mistaken. I think the only piece of this chess is having the UK also present a nuclear deterrent alongside France that is already doing it, that is already creating the conditions to have a nuclear protection system in Europe. I know they spoke with Portugal, for example. Macron was here. I know that after that, Portugal cancelled the the purchase of F-36 from fighter jets from the US. 6 billion the US lost, and now we are going to buy French jets. I know there was a lot of negotiations in the background that are happening right now, and I think Putin knows that either he gets something out of this in the next months, or he will get nothing. And behind him, the country is crumbling. And he has a serious threat of territory takeover or control from China and from Central Asian countries. And there are a lot of republics, especially in the Caucasus region, that want to break out from the Russian Federation. He knows this, and I think he is stuck in this Zugzwang, you know, that movement in chess where whatever you do, you lose. And I think that he fully understands what is happening. I don't think he's stupid enough to not know what is happening in West Europe, in West Ukraine. And even if this is hard, even if I know that people will die, I think it's better for Europe to take a stance now. And it's also better, and this I'm speaking with my British friends, it is better for the UK to align with Europe. It's better. If you continue in this path of appeasing the Americans and appeasing Europe, you will end up with a handful of nothing. You will end up, for example, if you cave in to the Americans, you will end up with your NHS taken over. You will end up with a total control because you have nothing to give. Sorry, I'm sorry to say this. I am not saying the country does not have a good GDP. I'm not saying the country does not have a lot of money. It has. The issue here is who has the money, who has the power. Do you understand what I'm saying? How many are you? 60 million, I think, or 50 million, or whatever. I don't recall. Sorry. You are a large country, of course you are, with a lot of people. Sorry, not a large country. I better correct myself, or my Scottish friends will crucify me. Union, composed of England, of Wales, of Scotland, and of Northern Ireland. Okay, this is also something the Americans should understand: is that the United Kingdom is a union of countries, not a country. Okay, yeah, and I think out of respect we should say this. We should insist in these differences. But carry on. But what I'm trying to tell you is this: if you read somewhere that Mrs. Tom has signed a defense agreement with Europe, Europe in the sense with the EU, with the other EU nations, or at least with France and Germany and a couple of more, Finland, for example, then you are going to know which side he chose in this particular matter. And that a shift in the war is imminent. And we I think some people say we might have a World War III. In my opinion, we are already having it. This is not a regional conflict. It's imminent to have Europe have to intervene in this because the weak United States is unable to do anything about it. Weak United States. I will repeat this on and on and on. You are weak. The only reason no one invades you, it's because every door has a gun. And no one wants to enter in a wasp nest like that. No one. No one is mad enough to enter a wasp nest like that. I wouldn't invade the United States. I would try to control it if I was some kind of mad dictator, mad invading potency. I would not try to invade the United States. I would try to control it. And this is exactly what they are doing, whoever is behind this. I am unsure if this control originates in Russia or in more than one actor. My logical opinion would be that we have forces inside of the United States, we have Russian influence, we have Chinese influence, we have a lot of Middle Eastern influence, Israel, we have a lot of forces creating this destabilization in the United States. But for me, 99% of the issues in the United States have to do with internal problems, with internal hatreds, with the internal unjustified self importance, and with a lot of wounds that instead of healing are rotting away and gushing dead blood. Sorry for the sorry for the analogy, the image, but this is exactly how I see it. Okay, but again, I think these types of news, when the man himself comes out and says things like this, some people would consider it not important. But to me, it's an emotional reaction. It's a political affirmation. And anyone who knows how these people work, narcissistic people, dictators, I would not say Russians, but Russian political ideas, if you knew how they work, this is how they function. And you have to put yourself a bit in the back and see things how they are, and not see just one event, but to see the entire story. Because if you just focus in one moment, you will not see the entirety of the situation. You know, it's like that philosophical story about the three men sitting inside of a cave, watching shadows in the wall. Each of them had an idea of what it was. None of them knew what it was. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little stream. I hope you enjoyed my mad rants. But I think I should change my name to the ranting man. But I hope to see you soon. Okay.